All right, welcome back to another episode of Nothing Moves Without Us, a Black Culture podcast. Today, Tatiana and I are discussing the 2006 film Akeelah and The Bee. Really excited to kind of talk about this. It it's a dope movie, and it's funny because about 2 weeks ago I watched this movie called Bad Words with Jason Bateman, where he's in a spelling bee contest. So excited to kind of look at. Did you watch that movie?
I tried to watch that movie. I couldn't
All right, that's
after a
good.
while.
That's good. That'll be some fun talking points.
Yeah.
To I guess to kind of start the show, I wanted to talk about this Kanye man. Or not even Kanye. This Ye. It's Ye. It's Ye. It's Ye. Um, people traditionally change their name to like. Did you watch the Yeezus documentary?
No, I did
Okay.
not.
So I feel like in the past people changed their names to let go of the criticism and the wrongdoings. Like Puff Daddy went from Puff to something else to now he's just Diddy that he tried to brother love and no one's really feeling it. Um, so I get changing your name to Ye to kind of disassociate from everything that was Kanye West. But in the Jesus documentary, Ye was what the people that were closest to him called him. Ye is like if I let somebody call me Cliff, like yo, I fuck with you. So
Right.
like I get the transition and I see him being Ye, like he's being more vocal. He's kind of sharing his thoughts and opinions on things he's always kind of done, and dealing with not dealing with experiencing the repercussions of those choices. How do you generally feel about what Kanye West currently Ye has been up to these past few years?
Um, I thought it's a it's weird because I have frequently been having conversations about Kanye West just in general because to me it feels like kind of a letdown to what he's shifted towards. I've been listening to Kanye since I was like 18 years old. I like got the college dropout. I was like, this is the best album I've ever heard. I played it into the ground my first
Cheers to
year
the
of
rock.
college. Yeah. I played it into the ground, but like, I feel like there was a huge shift after his mom passed and um his diagnosis of bipolar disorder and what happens when you have such great fame that people just stop telling you no. So I feel like he is someone that is surrounded by yes men that agree with what he says. I feel like a lot of what he does is was or is very curated, especially his relationship with Kim Kardashian. Not that she's not a real person, but they definitely got into that relationship. I feel like for all the wrong reasons. Kim Kardashian has said in the past that I believe in like an old magazine interview she did, one of her goals in life were to have mixed babies. And when you put some shit like that out in the air, it's just very strange. And Kanye's always had an unhealthy obsession with her, even before they were together. I don't know. I just feel like he's lost it in a and not in a he's like crazy sort of way, but in a he's lost touch with reality and he's been saying super offensive stuff for many years and he's finally getting some sort of backlash for it. I do kind of feel sorry for him because no one is I don't feel like he has any sort of guidance and I feel like he's being taken advantage of um because he I don't feel like he's in his right state of mind and I just feel like he's being taken advantage of. I feel like at one point we could have just not we but maybe even the society or whatever it is, like people are so obsessed with views and having Kanye on their podcast and on their shows means their views are going to go up. So Fox did it and then Noriega did it and so many other people wanted to have him on, even though you can tell from these interviews that there's something like wrong and that was more
What do you view as
important.
being wrong with him?
He
What do you think is wrong?
he's unhinged. I feel he's been bringing up a lot of white supremacist talking points. A lot of what he's been saying is regurgitated from what white supremacists say, what Nazis have said, and
But why do you automatically associate just because they said it and he says it, he's regurgitating it from them?
because he hangs out with Candace Owens, who
Okay.
is he hangs out with Candace Owens. He sits down and has conversations with Fox, with Tucker Carlson, who's extremely racist, who has been sued in the past for spreading misinformation, and pretty much got out of it because he was like, "Well, if they believe me, that's not my fault." Um, he just he's just been saying a lot of weird shit for years. Things he said about women, things he said about black people, things he said about like Jewish people. It's just I feel like it's coming to a head. Um, I feel like he's being held responsible. I feel like he's probably the only person in recent times who has been actually really being held responsible for the things he says, because I know for a fact, and I know you know as a fact, that people have said the same, if not worse. And I feel like he is being held responsible because he's a black man, but I feel like that doesn't excuse the things that he says. So it's been kind of like, I'm like depressing to see how far he's fallen from George Bush doesn't care about black people to slavery was a choice to I'm going DEFCON 3 on these Jews and this and that. And it's just as alarming. And it's strange because, like I said, he shares opinions with white supremacists. And when that happens, when you start to garner that kind of attention, when people are throwing banners over like what is it, some California highway saying Kanye was right about the Jews, and they have up like they're doing the Hitler pose, you got bad company. And once you're in bad company, there's like really no coming back from that, at least
I
to
mean,
me.
I feel like that. I feel like that's a stretch to say that he's in bad company when he
He
doesn't even
definitely,
know
I
these
think he
people.
is. Not just,
I
not
mean, hold on, hold on,
just.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. You spoke for a bit. Let's just dialogue a bit. Um, you can't say he's in bad company if you like use the people on the bridge. He doesn't know them, so you can't really acknowledge that. Um, the slavery was a choice thing. Like, do you are you aware of like what the full quote is?
I know he says slavery was a choice. I
All
know
right.
that.
The full quote is, when you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. That's not saying, I don't think that's saying slavery was a choice. I think he's saying staying within, like, there's content and then there's context, right? Like I can sit here and I can say anything, but if I don't fully elaborate, you take the context based off your preconceived notions, right? If like reading the full quote and saying 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Yeah, it does, because if you're staying within confinement for a prolonged period of time, there's a choice in allowing that this is my lived condition. I mean, I definitely think there's a choice within that. It's I forget his name. I think John Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. Right? Like when like, for me, the overall narrative is when someone white says something, it's prolific and profound, but when a black person says something, it's disregarded. They may not have the innate language. Like I think Kanye Ye's issue is language. He doesn't have the language to necessarily articulate himself when we look at the sound clips and the sound bites. But if you allow him to speak freely and share his like the complete thought, you get more of the context out of it. um I think most recently what he's dealing with is the issue with his comments about Jewish people. DEFCON isn't it isn't about attacking people. It's about defense. Like DEFCON is I'm going DEFCON, so I'm gonna start defending myself against Jewish people, right? Like earlier I was thinking about, like, I understand what anti-Semitism is now nowadays, right? I understand what it used to be. I understand what it is nowadays. Nowadays it's just you can't speak ill. Like that's just the base of it. You can't speak ill, or you can't. make references that allow other people to to hint at Jewish power and control and manipulation, all of that. I definitely think what he said was wild because again, people don't understand the context of it, and he should absolutely be held accountable for the language that he uses and the lack of context in explaining it. But bringing a saying like if I said only Muslims or Arabs own the corner stores in the hood and they poisoning our people. Right? Not even that, right? Only Arabs and Muslim people own the corner stores in our hood. That's not like attacking them. I'm just saying like this is just general awareness that I have that this group is structured in these places and like there's some type of negative impact to the people that they're servicing. I don't I don't view that as being anti-Semitic or anti a group. I think it's just bringing an awareness to it and offering, I think, looking for dialogue, right? And like I'm like you have to find that within yourself, right? Like he said, I'm realizing that everyone I do business with is a specific type of person, and I'm realizing that a lot of my business is being limited and controlled. Like I don't. How do you view that as being offensive or detrimental?
I want to address what you said earlier about being in bad company. Candace Owens is bad company. I feel like when you start to share the same kind of attitudes about people, that means that you're in bad company. Candace Owens is not a good person. She's a grifter. Before she got super famous, she was a Democrat who was very anti-Trump, and then she shifted to something else because this makes her more money. She's married to a white man that owns Parler, which is a social media website that's, I guess, maybe akin to Twitter, where it's very far right, which can be another thing for fascists to get into, Nazis to get into, people who have those opinions. So that's what I mean by bad company. Um, the thing you said about Muslims, and they're called they're not called Arabs, they're called Arabs. But I think what Kanye West is lacking is that he makes points, and to him the points make sense, but he doesn't look at the overall picture of it. He's saying that, like, I've noticed that Jews are the one running everything, but not considering that all those Jews are also white. That plays a big part because there are, like everyone has stated, like I know to be true as well. There are Black Jews, there are Asian Jews, there are Jews that are of Arab descent, and they don't, run things like how white Jews do, if that's what he was trying to get at. So he's also someone that is, excuse me, self-confessed, I don't read. So I think like when you take in all of that
Most people
information,
don't read nowadays, though. Like most people don't read nowadays. People look
that's
at
no excuse.
sound bites and clips.
No, I don't think that's an excuse. As somebody that can go out and say something like that and say, "Well, I don't read." You have these ideas, these opinions that you share about people. You generalize people, and you make those opinions, you make those assumptions, and you don't take like a more critical look at things. Of course, what you say gets misconstrued. I read. I know people that still read. It's not like, I feel like that's not a good excuse. I feel like if you're going to go out on TV and make these like very broad statements about things, that you should be able to back it up with facts, with statistics, with knowing the history of this country. He also went on to say, like, oh, most of the children being born in New York City, the Black children that should have been born, are gone because of abortion. That's not true. He's just using a lot of like really bad talking points to try and prove a point because he feels like, he's not being heard. And even with the White Lives Matter shirts and him talking about Black Lives Matter, I get what he's saying about Black Lives Matter. The organization itself that co opted the phrase Black Lives Matter, they mishandle money. That was a thing that's come across on news sites all over the place. But there are people that have been doing work on the ground for years before Black Lives Matter organization even existed, who are now being thrown under a bus. He has legitimized people's, especially white people's, rationale of why they hate Black Lives Matter, to the point that it's not even called that anymore. it's referred to a lot of the time that I've seen as BLM because people don't want to believe that. And he goes, "Oh, why wouldn't I say white lives matter?" Everything he does now at this point is to drum up controversy. And I feel like he used black people as a jumping off point to see what he can get away with, and thought that he would also be able to get away with this, and wasn't. So I think like Kanye at some point had really cool ideas. I feel like he had really like revolutionary ideas about things, being that his father was a Black Panther, his mother was a professor. So like, that's where he's from, to now this is crazy. He's just not who he was, I believe. And I feel like, everyone's allowed to criticize this country or how things are, but he doesn't seem to get why it's being seen as controversial as it is, but he's also like reveling in it, because now I feel like he
I
thinks
mean,
it backfired on him.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I guess in terms of, I don't know his true intentions, right? I mean, I think, I mean, some of the language you use and the language a lot of people use is believing that we know people's intentions, and that's always kind of where I step back, and that's why I say, I don't know the truth. I know my perspective, and watching the Genius documentary, he's a creative, he's an artist. I talking with creatives, talking with artists. Um, like you said, he's not the same person he was. He's not supposed to be. I mean, I think that's part of growth and life experience. I think you have these experiences, and it opens new gateways and revelations that changes your perspective on life, for yourself, for other people. um Personally, I believe that there is goodwill and good intention. I just think it's chaos, and it needs to kind of be curated and controlled, and then the message becomes a lot more clearer for people to kind of comprehend. Um, but yeah. Um, and any last points before we
Yeah,
transition?
I think that in terms of Kanye, sometimes when you're given a lot of insight to what he says and you kind of hear it, you can sort of like infer what he means. But I also feel like he thinks that his experience is everyone's experience, and he shields himself behind his identities when it's fitting, and when it's not fitting, then he doesn't, because I feel like he's completely out of touch. And I think that has a lot to do with wealth. I feel like that has a lot to do with fame. And I feel like it has a lot to do with him being surrounded by people who just think that everything he says is, you know, smart. He's genius, that he's innovative. And I feel like sometimes, if you care about somebody, you have to call them out for the things that you don't understand. Um, but yeah.
I mean, I guess the last thing, I forgot what you said initially. Uh, it's all right. We can transition. Um, Akeelah and the Bee, 2006. Like I said, I'm not sure if I watched this movie before. I feel like I have, like, very
Hmm.
vaguely. I watched it last night, and I watched it again today just to kind of get re-immersed into it again. But it's a powerful movie. Part of it kind of drew me back into Antoine
Hmm.
Fisher, and just thinking about like youthful experience, and the the family, like family around you, the yeah, family around you, and how that kind of molds and shapes you, and kind of taking your destiny into your own hand, and like finding your own
Yeah.
path. It stars a young KeKe Palmer as Akeelah, Angela Bassett as Tanya, her mother, Lawrence Fishburne as Dr. Larrabee. There's Mr. Welch, who's played by Curtis Armstrong, who I remember from being Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. Um, and an additional, like, a great supporting cast of like people who are who are there to kind of balance out life, right? Like those are the four main people, four main cast members, and I feel like everyone else kind of balances out the different sides of limiting her growth and experience, and like supporting her and showing her like the possibilities of tomorrow.
Yeah, also Lee Thompson Young is in this. Rest in peace. He was Jet Jackson.
Right, 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 right. When I looked at him, I thought he was that guy from The Boys. For a second, I'll get his name real quick. Jesse T. Usher, who plays A Train. Yeah, like at quick glance, I kept saying, "Oh, that's A Train, that's A Train." But yeah, you're right, you're right.
Jesse T. Usher. I don't even know who that is. I don't watch The Boys, but I probably should. Let me look this up. Oh yes, yeah, they got the same face. They do have the same
Right.
face.
Yeah. So the director of the film is where did I lose it?
Doug Atchison.
Yeah, who actually like watched a Scripps National Spelling Bee championship, and then like wrote the
Hmm.
screenplay for this. It said it was a 10-year journey, like really finalizing it and getting everything kind of set up. Um,
He won like
the I guess
sorry. He
go ahead.
won like
It's okay.
what was it? Like a script writing thing too to get the movie funded because
Yeah,
it took like years for him to even get
the
the money.
Nicole Fellowships in
Yeah.
screenwriting in 2000. Yeah. Um, and he, the concept behind the film is about, and I'm reading some of this from
Hmm.
Wikipedia, but he wanted to write an inspirational film about overcoming obstacles despite difficult challenges along the way. He also wanted to portray African Americans in a manner that was not stereotypical, and tried to show how African American childhood incorporates some stereotypes, which is it's great because looking at the when I looked through the week Wikipedia page, they were saying that there was like racial controversy behind the show because of stereotypes and how people were depicted, which we'll get
Hmm.
into a bit later on. Um, how did you feel about the first 5 minutes? I know the title screen is like right there in your face, but like the first 5 to 10 minutes, the showing Los Angeles, showing her neighborhood. What did how did that speak to you at all?
I think it was a good first 5 to 10 minutes because it kind of immersed you into Akeelah's neighborhood and her surroundings. I feel also like the title song that they play in the beginning is performed by KeKe Palmer or performed by her sisters because I think she wrote a song. She actually did write a song for the soundtrack. Um, but I feel like, yeah, it did a really good job of kind of like getting you prepared for what you're about to see in like Akeelah's home, her school life, her neighborhood, her community. I think it definitely did a good job of like getting you ready um, for this movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing the first few minutes. It's nostalgic. Like anytime we watch these movies, it feels nostalgic. We talked about Crooklyn,
Hmm.
and seeing the camera like roll through the streets. The word that came to my mind was buzzing. Like when you drive through I'm gonna say the hood throughout this, just because it's just an easier way to kind of conceptualize it. Her neighborhood, but the hood. When you drive through it, it's just always buzzing. There's always people walking around. There's always things to do. I feel like once you kind of step out of like inner cities, it's just very sparse. Like you don't know if people exist. You just see buildings and homes, and it's
Yeah,
nice to walk in neighborhoods and just see people, know that people are alive, know that's what I mean. That's the culture of New York, right? The seeing
yeah,
people watching and seeing culture, fashion, and what's going on. And there's always something interesting going on, which I really appreciated.
yeah,
um
because it was super active neighborhood.
yeah, i I like that within the first few minutes we get like a very direct, clear understanding of her family life. We know that
Hmm.
we see that Akeelah is like this very bright, smart girl. She's playing, I think, Scrabble on a phone or computer.
Yeah,
We meet Tanya, who who is that's a stressed out mom. Like the stress, is going through it. Her sister who has a baby, and her brother. Sorry, her sister's played by. uh, Sahara Ware, Georgia, and then her brother Devin, who's in the Air Force, I believe. And you know,
Yeah.
we get very clear cut roles, and then we